on the move, and I thought the young lady's heifer is just more comfortable. Her shoulder blade, her knee, I like the design of her hind legs. She just kind of held together better underneath than the other heifer. The other heifer's bigger, heavier bone, probably a little more to her. Again, maybe just not quite ready yet in terms of the way she leads and handles her feet and legs quite as nicely as the other one. So I've always been, rule number one for me is they got to be sound, and especially at this age right here. I don't care how stout and pretty they are, if their structure's not built good at 600 pounds, it'll be a disaster later on. So the young lady ends up first. Young man, you're going to wind up in second. Very, very high quality pair of females. Congratulations. I thought a great class. We give all purples. Congratulations.
In Class 3, first place went to Laney Tronick, second place Dempsey Dorn, third place Kaylin Allington, fourth Grace Lovell, fifth Caden Allington, and sixth Hayden Warner. In the ring next, we'll pick the champion Simmental Stocker Feeder. So we'll have Blakely Katz, and Landry Krause from the first class, and Laney Tronick and Dempsey Dorn from the second class.
Well, sure, there's two different schools of thought on how you would approach this situation out here. If we take them to sale barn, and of course, obviously, if we'd cut them two bulls, take them to sale barn, weigh them up, and on a per pound basis, they're probably worth more dollars. We're sitting out here in the middle of the show ring, and so I'm kind of looking at the other side of the market is how do we capture some premiums, and we do that by selling junior show cattle. And again, I think that bull calf that won that first class, I think he has some potential to make a nice steer, a good kind of a county fair steer down the road. I think the two heifers, on the other hand, are a pair of cattle that can really take these young people to a very high level, beyond the county fair level, state, maybe even regional junior nationals, and they have that kind of quality. And so again, I give them kind of the added bonus of just having more added value to them. So we're going to keep the two heifers together, represent our champion Simmental. So young lady, you'll have our grand, young man, you'll have the reserve. Let's give all four of them a nice hand, though. That's a good set of feeder calves.
Your champion Simmental goes to Laney Tronick, and reserve goes to Dempsey Dorn. Coming in the ring next will be Class 4 Foundation Simmentals. Class 5 and Class 6 need to be in the makeup area. In this class, we'll have Lainey Tronick, Hayden Warner, and Grayson Kraus. This will be the only class of foundation scimitars, so this will be your champion in reserve as well. Class 5, we need Brigham Whitwer to the makeup area.
Another very, very nice trio of heifers. I think a real close decision, and for second, again, I can go either way. We're going to wind up putting the Baldy heifer third, and again, just some time with her yet. One thing about it, partner, I'll say this: you're very consistent in your breeding program. The last heifer is a little looser made. This is kind of the same way. I don't think she's quite the extreme, the one you brought in here, a little set to her hind leg. But I think as we continue to kind of grow and develop her and get some maturity on her, I just see good days ahead of her yet. And so, nice female. I think her lines are very nice as we get her out here in terms of smoothness of shoulder, length of body. I just like to strengthen her up a little bit in her top, and she's a little behind the game right now when we get in behind her in terms of dimension. Second, our young man back here, and partner, I'll brag a little bit about your heifer, but I'm going to brag a lot more about your showmanship skills. You're outstanding. You do a great job on the stick, really good presence with this heifer. You keep her head up well, you keep her top loin down. I like her a lot from her hook bone forward. I think she's got the right kind of neck shape and shoulder. Rib cage is good in her. I think probably her issues with movement is she's just a little shorter in her hip. She gets a little tight made maybe off her hind leg. I think that would be the biggest area I'd like to fix her, but standing there, really a nice job, and I'm going to give a lot of that good looks to the young showman that's up ahead of her. He does an outstanding job. On the stand, I think this heifer is extremely nice. She's got the elegance, she's got the rib cage, she's got some dimension and bone to her. Again, not a bad moving heifer. that'd be the area if we was to just make her spot on perfect. I'd still like to see her use her hock just a little bit differently in that lower joint, but standing there, it's hard to poke a very big hole in that one there. That's a really, really nice female that's got the balance and the look and the quality to kind of put it all together. So what a lucky day for you, huh? You're first, young man's going to be second, and our basketball player is going to be third. Good set of heifers. Congratulations.
Your champion foundation scimitar goes to Lainey Tronick, reserve to Grayson Krause, and third in the class goes to Hayden Warner. In the ring next is Class 5 AOB male stalker feeders. In this class is Caleb Schnelly and Shelton Crawford. We need Class 6 and 7 in the makeup area.
All right, again, not really knowing what the end game is here for these two. We're just going to call them bull calves, and whether we keep them intact or cut them, I probably wouldn't switch my placing either direction. The white calf's going to wind up in second. I love his length, his muscularity. If we do end up cutting him, and we think about a future market steer, he's always going to have a big edge, I think, in just muscle shape and cutability. He'll be a high-yielding kind of a calf on down the road. I think from just a design and structure and balance perspective, maybe not quite as quick to grab your eye as the roan steer, but he's got a lot of gas in his tank. He'll make a big old heavy fat someday if we want to go ahead and castrate him and get him to that point. The roan steer will be our class winner. I think, again, his balance and presence out here is really nice. I like his rib cage. I like the way he hooks up from his hook bone back into his pins. I think, again, he's kind of just got the added extra value in terms of quality down the road. So if we do elect to go ahead and cut him, I think he sure has some potential here in the show ring to make a pretty nice breed steer on down the road. So good pair of cattle. They're going to grow and gain. I just think there's a little more quality here in the roan steer. Whoops.
In Class 5, first purple went to Shelton Crawford and second went to Caleb Schnelly. In the ring next is Class 6 AOB females. That will be Claire Schnelly, Shelton Crawford, and Corbin Kuntz. Class 7 and 8 be on deck.
This is what makes county fairs so great. And you'll notice I've judged for 45 years. I'm a lot better today giving advice than help. At my age, I really don't care to get over there and get my ass kicked. So. And I was just thinking, too, this is why Nebraska football, I did wear my purple today, but this is why Nebraska football is still pretty daggone good, because you grow kids like him. He didn't quit. Now, that heifer was wanting to put a whoop on him, and he didn't quit. So, all right, let's talk about the 3 heifers. Again, I think a class winner, and then the other 2 can make a real decision for second. Young lady, you're going to wind up in third here with your solid white heifer. I'm going to call her Charlie Influence, if I will. And I love her length, her leanness, her muscularity. I think the potential, again, for her as a market animal is really incredible. I think there'll be a lot of good in her. As a breeding heifer, I kind of look at her as maybe being just a little shallow, not quite as nicely designed in her hip and hind leg, but a lot of growth, a lot of gas in the tank to be a big heavyweight someday if we decide to take her that direction. The light roan heifer here, the kind of the dusty heifer, she's going to wind up in second. I like her presence from the side. She's really made nice up in her neck and her shoulder. Her smoothness is good. She's not as muscular as the other 2 cattle, and that could be a pretty strong case for whether the white heifer deserves to beat or not when you get in behind her. But I thought she balanced out so much better than the white heifer that we need to go ahead and keep her in second. And then the ornery, unfortunately for this young man, he's going to have to bring her back here in the ring, but it's good for the heifer. You know, again, she's a nice combination of the 2 cattle. She's powerful and muscular. She's got some balance to her. Not the best headed. She's kind of parrot mouth. She needs a stouter lower jaw, and obviously not the smartest one here today. But there's a lot of good in her. I think she's got a nice look, and she ties that within a really big, powerful top and hip shape. So congratulations again, a good trio, and I think this heifer here, as ornery as she is, she still has the most potential to her down the road.
In Class 6, first went to Shelton Crawford, second Corbin Kuntz, and third Claire Schnelly. In the ring now we'll have champion AOB, we'll have Shelton Crawford from the first class and Caleb Schnelly, and from the second class we'll have Shelton Crawford and Corbin Kuntz. Class 7 and 8 be in the makeup area.
Well, you bring these back here in the lineup. I'm gonna help him out a little bit. I'm gonna use his shorthorn bull calf to win this AOB division. I think to me he's just stouter. You can start at his head, his jaw, the dimension that he has, and he takes that, I think, in a sounder hind leg and just really a better structured animal than what we have in the heifer. We need to keep the heifer second, though, or reserve because of just her sheer shape and balance and muscularity that she has. I think, again, we don't always have to pair them up as alikes, but I think she's so much more like the bull calf in terms of her design that we need to get her up into our reserve slot. So, again, we bailed them out a little bit. We're going to have them show another one here. Your bull calf's going to be your champion. But let's give all 4 of these young people a nice hand and thank them for bringing them out here.
In the AOB division, champion went to Shelton Crawford with the AOB bull, and reserve went to Shelton Crawford with the heifer. In the ring next will be the commercial, Class 7 commercial males, Grayson Kraus, Corbin Kuntz, Dayton Pullman, and Tatum Schroeder. Class 8 be in the makeup area.
All right, obviously some variation, and I think the little red calf, we're going to end up putting him fourth here, and just a little smaller, maybe a little quicker maturing kind of a calf than the other cattle in here, and he's got, I think, a nice look to him in terms of his neck and his shoulder. Obviously plenty of body to him, just a little frailer bone, a little smaller in kind, so he'll end up in fourth. The black steer calf here, he'll wind up third. I like his extra length. He's a little more attractive up in his neck and his shoulder. Like the red bull calf ahead of him, he could use just a little bit more bone, and I'd like to make him stouter to kind of compete with these two that are going to end up beating him. But I like his length. I think as we continue to feed on this calf, he'll always have good presence here in the ring because of the way that he's built and constructed from the side. We just hope he gets stout enough. So a nice pair here on top. And I would say that the Baldy calf here, he's just real world cattle. You know, he's a big skeleton steer. His length of body's good. Today he's a little more comfortable in the way that he handles his hind leg. Does he just hit you like a ton of bricks like the red steer? Probably not. Okay, he doesn't have quite the look and the real extreme shape to his top and out to his hip. But again, one of those kind that I think he just looks like he could gain pretty easily on just looking at a bucket of corn, let alone sticking it in his feed pan. I'm going to say the red steer maybe doesn't have a perfect hind leg, but if we pull his halter off and kick him out on pasture, we don't notice it near as much as we do out here in the show ring. He's a little jazzed up, and you know, I've seen it 1,000 times. He looks like he's constructed right in his ankle, and then he gets out here and he kind of knuckles over every once in a while. That's his biggest flaw. Besides that, that is one good-looking, big-boned, square-built, muscular calf, and if he kind of gets you know, that hind running gear put together right, he'll be a nice contender down the road to win a lot of steer shows. So again, that'll be the biggest hurdle for him. He's not picture perfect, but he's got a lot of other things that are really fun to work with. Young lady, you're going to wind up first, and our Baldy steer will end up here in second. Let's give them all a nice hand. Good set of cattle.
In Class 7, first went to Tatum Schroeder, second Grayson Krause, third Dayton Pullman, and fourth Corbin Kuhn. Next, we'll have Class 8 commercial stocker feeders. Heifers, we'll have Jacob Wallenberg, Isabel Warner, Landry Krause, Boston Crawford, Luke Katz, and Emmeline Burkett.
All right. Again, there's potential, I think, in several heifers out here, and obviously one that's just not very smart today, but I think a lot of good in that one. Partner, we're going to bring your heifer up here in 6th, and again, I just think we got one that's a little behind in the game here, but she's smooth. She's really going to be pretty nice up into her neck and her shoulder. She's got kind of a refined look to her. I'd like to strengthen her up a little behind her shoulder blade, maybe give her just a bit more length if we could. But the running gear's good. I think she's got all the right pieces. We just need to give her a bit more time yet to kind of get caught up. The Charlie Influence heifer will be next. She'll end up in 5th. Basically just a little more length of body. She's probably a nickel neater up and through her jaw and down through her chest floor than is the Baldy heifer. I think from her hooks forward, that's a really nice female. Maybe from there back, especially as we watch her off her hind leg, we'd like to stouten up her bone work and maybe have her go just a little more comfortable if we could here on her rear leg. Red and white heifer will be 4th in, and again, I think there's just more balance to her. I like her neck and her shoulders. She's got some top in her. Everything kind of fits together a little bit nicer from the side than the 2 heifers we wind up putting below her. Stands up a little stronger, a little more correct, I think, on her hind leg than the 2 heifers we just discussed. We're going to bring the young man's heifer here that's kind of turning circles in here. We're going to put her in 3rd, and I think standing, this is one we sure need to recognize for the quality that she has. She's got a nice top in her. You get behind her. I love the way she's shaped up high. Got a good, big, strong hip in her. A little like some heifers here we just discussed. I think for the extra body mass she has, she's a nickel finer bone, and I wasn't convinced she's quite as good off her hind leg as the 2 cattle we're going to end up beating her with. Young lady, I like your heifer's presence. I think she's got a really nice look, really good running gear. I think the future is there. We just got to give her a little bit more time. She's not as big, stout bone and as burly as the one that's going to beat you, but I think she's got a lot of nice pieces to take home and work with and make a good kind of a female. Again, not a real smart one going to win the class, but she's pretty nice. I like her really from her forerib back. I think a nice mama cow and her design of her rib, her hip, and her hind leg. Obviously, she's got a little extra skin up into her neck, but 3 or 4 years from now, we got her kicked out on some grass. She's a cow. You'll never even notice that. Good heifer. Not very smart, but a good heifer. Let's give them all a nice hand. Congratulations.
In Class 8, first went to Luke Katz, second to Isabel Warner, third to Landry Krause, fourth to Boston Crawford, fifth to Emerlyn Burkett, and sixth to Jacob Wallenberg. In the ring next, we'll have your champion commercial stocker feeder. We'll have from Class 7, Tatum Schroeder and Grayson Krause. And from Class 8, we'll have Luke Katz and Isabel Warner. Well, I don't know that it's a real easy decision. I think we can
probably pick a hole in each of them or have question marks, I guess I should say. I was just sitting here thinking, these young people have got these cattle kind of broke, but they're weaned. They're here to show. That's the last thing I thought about. I was driving through calves this morning. It was cool out. We got grass up to my thighs. Like, I don't have any interest in weaning calves till probably September. So y'all are way ahead of the game, and there's a lot of time between now and then, and it'll be interesting to see how they keep up. The red steer's a little more ring ready. Again, I'm not convinced he's perfect in his structure, but he's ready today in terms of just the way he's being presented out here. So, young lady, you're going to have our champion. I do think there's a lot of good in the heifer. Obviously, there's just one whole drawback on her, but man, you're going to end up being reserve, and you deserve like a double cheeseburger when you get back to the stall back there. So let's give them both a nice hand. I think those are the two high-quality cattle. Both of them, I think, have a nice future to them.
Champion commercial stocker feeder goes to Tatum Schroeder. Reserve goes to Luke Katz. Next, we'll have the selection of our champion overall stocker feeder. From the Angus division, we'll have Reese Barnard. And the reserve is Gage Argo. In the Simmental division, we'll have Laney Tronick and Dempsey Dorn. In the Foundation Simmental, we'll have Laney Tronick and Grayson Kraus. In the AOB, we'll have Shelton Crawford and Shelton Crawford. And in the commercial, we'll have Tatum Schroeder and Luke Katz. Again, we want to thank our judge, Scott Shockey from Kansas, for coming up and judging our stocker feeder show today.
Well, it's a fun event. I think the goal is let's get them to the fair, let's get them in the ring, let's not get hurt, and then we get to go home and everybody's happy. So far, mission accomplished. We've got them in the ring. We got really a nice set of cattle. There's obviously some variation, and I've learned a long time ago that especially when we start showing them at this stage right here, a lot of things can change, kind of like the weather in Kansas. It can be 100 today and 95 tonight, and then tomorrow 60 degrees. And so again, that's the same with these young feeder cattle, and especially the skeleton and the structure. I told this young lady here in class that probably pull his halter off and kick him out on grass. He probably doesn't move quite like that like he does here in the ring. And so again, that's one of those deals you don't know, and it might get better and it might get worse. You just don't know. That's just one of the options that we have to play with. So I think there is one that's just, to me, the real striking one. She's built right. I think just has a lot of potential to her. The young lady was fortunate enough to win 2 classes, and you're also going to be fortunate enough to win your feeder calf show. Let's give her, with this semi-heifer, a very nice hand. That's a high-quality female. Congratulations. Yeah, very nice. Again, I think I probably like this heifer a little bit more than she likes herself. She was a little tough to get shown, like, so we have some reservations about the steer and his hind leg. And the other one that I think's just got a ton of quality is our percentage heifer that just circled here in front of her. She's got a nickel more bone than the one we selected. I don't think she's just quite as nice in the design of her hind leg, but I think those two fit together so nice in terms of quality. So young lady, you'll have the reserve champion. Congratulations. A lot more fun showing one that's not kicking your fanny, right? Yeah, congratulations. You're a good showman as well. So nice show. Congratulations.
Your champion sucker feeder is Laney Tronic, and your reserve champion goes to Laney Tronic. That concludes the sucker feeder show.